Did you know that Earth is actively sailing through debris of an ancient stellar explosion? Scientists drilling deep into tens of thousands of year old Antarctica ice have just confirmed a mind blowing cosmic secret. Our solar system is traveling through radioactive cloud left behind by an ancient supernova. In this video, we break down an incredible discovery made by international research team. By analyzing pristine ancient ice layers in Antarctica, scientists detected traces of iron 60, a rare radioactive isotope that only forms during a supernova. Let us explore this further. Antarctica, it is the coldest, driest, and most isolated continent on Earth. For centuries, we have treated it as a pristine time capsule of our own planet's history. But recently, an international team of scientists drilling deep into the ancient ice sheets uncovered something that doesn't belong to Earth. In fact, it doesn't even belong to our solar system. Deep within the tens of thousands of years old ice layers, researchers found a steady, undeniable influx of a rare radioactive space dust. And the data tells us a story that sounds like straight up science fiction. Right now, you are actually sitting here watching this video. Our planet is sailing directly through a radioactive debris of an alien supernova. We aren't just looking at the remnant of the dead star through our telescopes anymore. We are actively breathing them in. We are traveling through cosmic cloud of stellar wreckage. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. How did scientists figure this out from a block of ice? What exactly is lurking in the cosmic cloud? And should we be worried about radiation? Let's break it down. To understand how we know this, we have to look at the specific cosmic fingerprint. An isotope known as iron 60. Now, normal iron is incredibly common on Earth and also on Moon and also on Mars and other rocky planets, also rest of the solar system. It's in our own skyscrapers, our cars, and hemoglobin carrying oxygen through the blood right now. But iron 60 is a different one. It's a radioactive cousin of normal iron, packing 4 extra neutrons in its nucleus. And here is the thing about iron 60. It is not native to Earth. It cannot be naturally produced by any geological or chemical processes on our planet. It can't even be cooked up by a normal process inside our sun. There is only one place in the universe with the chaotic energy, extreme pressure, and the mind-boggling temperatures required to forge iron 60. The heart of a dying massive star during a supernova explosion. When these stars explode, they blast out heavy elements across light years of empty space like a cosmic shrapnel. But here is the real kicker. Iron 60 is radioactive and it has half-life of about 2.6 million years. Now 2.6 million years might sound like a long time, but in cosmic terms, in a universe which is 13.8 billion years old, that's a blink of an eye. If iron 60 had been on Earth when our planet formed 4.5 billion years ago, every single atom of it would have decayed into a stable nickel billions of years ago. There should be zero iron 60 left on Earth, and yet we just found it. Fresh, undecayed, and perfectly preserved in the snow of Antarctica. So how do we catch this space dust? You use the cleanest net on Earth, the Antarctica ice sheet. Because Antarctica experiences almost no industrial pollution and because its snow accumulation builds neatly layer by layer, century after century, it acts like a giant frozen hard drive, logging everything that falls from the sky. An international research team took samples of the snow and ice dating back tens of thousands of years. They carefully melted it down, filtered it, and ran it through incredibly sensitive piece of machinery called the accelerator mass spectrometer. They weren't looking for pounds of stuff, they were hunting for individual atoms. And against all odds, they found them. Scattered through the snow layers with layers was light but steady rain of iron 60. But finding it wasn't even the biggest surprise. The real shocker was where they found it in the timeline. In the past, scientists had found deep sea sedimentation, containing iron 60 from millions of years ago, indicating that Earth passed near a supernova in the distant past. But these spikes died down. The Antarctica ice core showed something fundamentally different. The influx of iron 60 hasn't stopped. It is happening right now. The snow that fell just a few thousand years ago and the snow falling today carries this interstellar signature. This means Earth isn't just looking at the ghostly echoes of an old explosion. We are actively driving through the debris cloud right now. So, what is this cloud we are sailing through? Astronomers call it the local interstellar cloud, or the LIC for short. It's a massive structure of gas and dust spanning about 30 light years across. For the past several thousand years, our entire solar system, which is Sun, Earth, Mars, all of us have been plowing through the cloud at a staggering speed, roughly about 50,000 miles an hour. For a long time, we didn't know exactly what the local interstellar cloud was made of or where it came from. But thanks to the Antarctica ice data, we finally have the answer. The LIC is the literal edge, the expanding shock wave of an ancient supernova, or potentially a cluster of supernovae that exploded millions of years ago in our cosmic neighborhood. Imagine a firework exploding in the sky. Long after the bright flash fades, a ring of smoke keeps expanding outward through the air. Our solar system has essentially driven right into the expanding ring of cosmic smoke. As our planet moves through it, Earth's gravity sweeps up the heavy dust particles, dragging them through our atmosphere, where they gently settle into the polar ice. Now, hearing these words like radioactive space dust and alien supernova debris might make you wonder, are we in danger? Is this radioactive cloud threatening the life on Earth? The short answer is no. We are perfectly safe, and we have two incredible shields to thank for it. The first shield belongs to our sun. It's called the heliosphere. The sun constantly blows out powerful streams of charged particles known as solar wind. This wind creates a gigantic magnetic bubble that surrounds the entire system. As we sail through local interstellar cloud, the heliosphere acts like the bow of a ship, deflecting the vast majority of interstellar gas, cosmic rays, and dangerous radiation around us. Only the heaviest, densest bit of matter, like tiny grains of dust laced with iron 60, have enough momentum to punch through the heliosphere and make it to the inner solar system. And the tiny fraction of the dust that does make it to Earth has to face our second shield, our atmosphere and magnetic field. By the time these atoms drift down to the surface of Antarctica, they are also incredibly sparse that they pose absolutely zero health risk. Instead of a threat, this cloud is a gift. It's an unprecedented scientific gold mine. It allows us to study the chemistry of a dying star without ever leaving our planet. This discovery completely changes how we think about our place in the universe. We often view our solar system as an isolated, peaceful bubble, completely cut off from the chaotic deep space beyond. But the Antarctica ice has shattered that illusion. It proves Earth is deeply, intimately connected to the wider galaxy. We are dynamic travelers in changing cosmic landscape. Astronomers estimate that our solar system will finish its voyage through the local interstellar cloud in the next 10 to 20,000 years. As we exit, we will sail into a new region of interstellar space, and the layers of Antarctica snow will record that transition too. It's a beautiful reminder that we are all quite literally made of stardust, and right now we are sailing through the very force that created us. And therefore, friends, if you found this discovery as mind blowing as I did, make sure to smash that like button. It really helps the channel out. Let me know in the comments below, how do you feel to know that you're breathing an ancient supernova dust right now? Don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating space breakdown, and I will see you very soon in the next voyage, my friends. Before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello everyone. I just wanted to take a moment to say a huge heartfelt thank you for all the wonderful birthday messages, calls and thoughtful wishes I received. Honestly, reading and hearing from so many of you made my day truly special. It's often said that birthdays are just another day, but when you receive that outpouring of affection, it's a powerful reminder of the incredible network of people who care about you. It really does make a difference. Thank you for making my day so special and making me feel so celebrated. And that brings me to why I think the simple act of wishing someone well is so important. Whether it's for their birthday or any other occasion, a wish isn't just words. It's a small intentional moment of connection. It tells someone, I'm thinking of you and I value you. In our busy lives, these little gestures of kindness and recognitions are vital. They strengthen our bond, lift our spirits, and remind us that we weren't alone. So let's keep the momentum going. Let us continue to be generous with our appreciation and well wishes, not just for me, but for everyone. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Hello friends, Namaskaram. In the year 1996, history was made at the top of the world. Therefore, in this video, we recount the incredible journey of squadron leader Sanjay Thapar of the Indian Air Force, who took out an ultimate challenge, a daring parachute jump onto the North Pole to unfurl the Indian national flag. We will experience the story of the India's bravest adventure as he braved the extreme Arctic condition, sub-zero temperature, and the logistic nightmare of high altitude jump in one of the most remote locations on earth. This isn't just a story of bravery, it is a testament to the grit, skill and the patriotic spirit of the Indian Air Force. Let's go. Imagine a place where every direction you look looks like a south direction. a place where the sun doesn't set for months or doesn't rise for just as long as you would expect. A desolate frozen expanse of shifting ice, howling winds, and temperature that turns human breath into ice crystal before it even leaves your lips. This is the North Pole, the geographic top of the world. For most of the human history, it was a place of legend, a target for explorers who often paid with their lives just to reach it by land. But today, we're talking about one man who decided the best way to arrive was from the sky. So, friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. In the April of 1996, squadron leader Sanjay Thapar of the Indian Air Force did what no Indian had ever done before. He stepped out of a perfectly good aircraft 10,000 feet above the Arctic ice to plant the Indian tricolor at 90 degrees north. He was Sanjay Thapar. To call him a daredevil is almost an understatement. By 1996, Thapar wasn't just a pilot. He was a master of the sky. He was one of the India's most qualified skydiving instructor with a career defined by records. Before his Arctic expedition, he had already shattered records for number of jumps in a single day, 46 jumps in just 3 hours, and was a multi-time national champion. But for Thapar, skydiving wasn't just a sport, it was a way of life. He had jumped from over 20 different types of aircrafts across 20 countries. When you look at his record, you see a man who treated gravity not as a law but as a suggestion. And yet, the North Pole was a different beast entirely. The mission took place on the April 21st, 1996, and to understand the difficulty, you have to understand the environment. We aren't talking about the casual jump at a local airfield. Thapar jumped from an altitude of 10,000 feet. The wind speed that day was clocked at over 40 kilometers per hour, whipping across the ice in a relentless gale. But the real enemy was the cold. On the ground, temperature hovered around 26 degrees, but in the air, at the jump altitude, it was bone chilling at minus 68 degrees centigrade. At those temperatures, metal becomes brittle and the human body shuts down in minutes. Every piece of equipment, every suit layer, and every movement had to be perfectly planned. One mistake in the cold air, one frozen latch could be catastrophic. But Thapar was prepared. He was a pioneer and he was there to bring the laurels to the IAF and the nation. So he descended through the Arctic sky, horizon stretched out in the blinding white blur. He hit the ice of the North Pole, the true 90 degrees north, and completed a successful landing. In that moment of absolute isolation, thousands of miles from home, he did what he had set out to do. He unfurled the Indian national flag. It was a moment of immense national pride, a symbol of India's growing capabilities to extreme environment. That jump wasn't just about parachute. It was about demonstrating the grit and the skill of Indian Air Force personnel. It sent a clear message. There is no environment on earth too harsh for the reach of determined Indian spirit. Squadron leader Thapar's feat didn't just end in 1996. It became a beacon for a new generation of Indian adventurers. He went out on to set more records, including jumping with the largest ever tricolor, a massive 2,226 square feet flag in the year 1997. His influence reached far beyond the Air Force. He inspired others like Wing Commander Kamal Singh Ober, who would later go on to skydive over the South Pole, making him the first Indian to conquer both extremes of the planet. Thapar's life remains a testament to the idea that if you have the will, the sky is not the limit, it is just the beginning. So today we look back at that day in April in the year 1996 with pride. Squadron leader Sanjay Thapar, who eventually retired as wing commander, proved that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the triumph over the frozen unknown. The next time when you look at the Indian flag, remember the one that flew at the very top of the world, planted by a man who decided that for India, the sky would always be our territory. Thanks for listening. Jai Hind. Friends, the mystery of our third interstellar visitor has finally been solved. In this video, we dive into the groundbreaking discovery of 3I Atlas and the incredible journey astronomers took to trace its path back to its source. For years, we wondered where this high-speed wanderer originated, but the answer is more chilling than we ever imagined. While Oumuamua and Borisov gave us the glimpse into the other star systems, 3I Atlas is different. New data reveals it was born in an environment of absolute extremes and extreme cold galactical origins that challenges everything we know about how comets and the planetary system forms. Let us explore this further. In the vast silence of ocean of the cosmos, things usually stay in their place. Stars keep their clusters, planets follow their tracks, but every once in a while, a ghost appears, a wanderer. In 2017, we saw Oumuamua, a bizarre cigar-shaped shard that defied explanation. In 2019, we saw 2I Borisov, a rogue comet that looked familiar but felt alien. But now in 2026 we have the third visitor, which is 3I Atlas. In fact 2025, but we are still tracking in 2026. When it first appeared in 2025 July 1st, we knew it was fast, we knew it was big. But as it sped past our sun and began its long journey back into the void, it left us a parting gift, a chemical fingerprint. For months, the world's most powerful telescopes from Alama Array in high desert of Chile or the James Webb Space Telescope have been staring at this frozen traveler. And the data just came back, and we are now finally, we know where the 3I Atlas came from. And this truth is, it is colder than anything we have ever imagined. Alright, so friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. To understand why 3I Atlas is so terrifying, we have to look at what it is. Astronomer calls it an interstellar object. It wasn't born in our solar system. It didn't form near Jupiter or just in the Oort cloud. It's an immigrant from another star system, likely ejected billions of years ago. On April 24th, 2026, a team from the University of Michigan led by astronomers Teresa Caureno and Luis Salazar Manzano published a paper in Nature Astronomy that changed everything. They weren't just looking at the comet's shape, they were looking at its heavy water, specifically deuterated water or HDO. In our solar system, comets have a specific ratio of regular water to heavy water. It's like a biological signature of our sun's birth. But 3I Atlas was different. Its ratio of heavy water is 30 times higher than any comet in our solar system, and it is 40 times higher than the water in our own oceans. This isn't just a slight difference. This is a neon sign screaming that this object was born in an environment we can barely comprehend. So what does this heavy water ratio tells us? It's a thermometer for the deep past. Chemical processes that create this much deuterium only happens in extreme conditions, specifically temperatures below 30 Kelvin. That is minus 406 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 253 degrees Celsius. Imagine a place so cold that even the atoms themselves seems to move in slow motion. This is where 3i Atlas was born. But here is a kicker. Astronomers think it didn't just come from a cold planet. It likely came from a loner star. Our sun was born in a crowded nursery surrounded by sibling stars that provided heat and radiation. But the home star of 3i Atlas, it was like outcast born in a dark, isolated corners of the Milky Way, where there was no other star keeping the neighborhood warm. Scientists are calling it a cold galactic origin. This comet is essentially a 10 billion year old ice cube that has preserved the chemistry of a dead, frozen era of our galaxy. If the temperature doesn't haunt you, the age will definitely do. Our sun is roughly 4.6 billion years old, and we think that is ancient. But 3i Atlas initially estimated that it could be 11 billion years old. Think about that. When 3i Atlas was forming in its dark, frozen cradle, the Earth didn't even exist. Our sun didn't exist. The Milky was a completely different shape. This object has been drifting through the vacuum of space for twice as long as our entire world has been alive. It is a cosmic fossil. It has survived the death of its home star, the collision of galaxies, and the slow expansion of the universe, all to end up in our backyard for a brief month, right? You might be wondering, why does it matter if the rock is cold and old? It matters because 3i Atlas is the mirror. By studying its chemistry, we aren't just learning about the random comet, we are learning about the diversity of the universe. Until now, we thought our solar system's recipe was standard. We thought water was simply water. But 3i Atlas shows us that there are regions of galaxy where building block of life are fundamentally different. If the comet had crashed into a young planet in its home system, that planet would have ocean filled with heavy water. Would life even be possible there? Or would it be a world of heavy biology fundamentally incompatible with us? As we speak, 3i Atlas is moving at 137,000 miles per hour. It has already passed Jupiter. It is heading back into the interstellar dark, away from the warmth of our sun that briefly woke it up from its long slumber. We may never see it again. In a few years, it will be just another data point in our archives, but it leaves us with a terrifying, beautiful realization. The universe is much, much bigger, much older, and much colder than we dare to believe. We have just, warm up little campfire in a very, very cold forest, right? So friends, what do you think about this? If you have any question, do not hesitate to send it across. Thanks for joining live. Thanks for watching. And if you want to keep up with the latest from the deep freeze of space, hit that subscribe button and stay curious. This next visitor could be the right around the corner. So friends, see you in the next one. But before I leave, a word from our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. दोस्तों, आप सबको पता होगा स्टेट ऑफ मलाक्का के बारे में। ये एक रीजन है मलेशिया का, बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट सी रूट है और इंडिया इसमें काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट दिखा रहा है और काफ़ी डिस्कशन चल रहा है इंडिया और मलेशिया के बीच में। और एक बायलैटरल एग्रीमेंट होने का भी अंदेशा हो रहा है। ये सब क्यों हो रहा है? ऐसा लग रहा है कि इंडिया कंट्रोल चाहता है इंडियन ओशन के ट्रेड रूट के ऊपर, और इसलिए ये जो एक चोक पॉइंट है इसको वो कंट्रोल करना चाहता है। इंडिया एक पावरफुल नेशन है और इस चीज को वो एग्जर्ट करना चाहता है। लेकिन ये मैं आपको बता दूं, आज हम इतिहास के पन्ने खोलेंगे और ये हम बताएंगे आपको कि ये पहली दफा नहीं हो रहा है। ये ऐसा कोई सरप्राइज वाले कोई इसमें बात नहीं है। ये हमारा कंट्रोल, इंडिया का जो कंट्रोल है इस रीजन पे पिछले 2000 साल से कायम है, और इस रीजन का जो डेवलपमेंट है इसके पीछे हमारे राजाओं, हमारे हिस्टोरिक फिगर्स का हाथ है। तो चलिए लॉन्ग फॉर्म वीडियो में इसके बारे में डिटेल से चर्चा करते हैं। नमस्कारम दोस्तों, आप सबका स्वागत है। जैसा कि मैंने शुरू में बताया कि जो स्टेट ऑफ मलाक्का है या मलाक्का जिसको हम बोलते हैं, इस पे चोला वंश का शासन था और ये 1010 सीई मतलब 10,000 एडी में ये शासन स्टैब्लिश किया गया था। और ये ऐसा नहीं था कि कोलोनाइजेशन था, ये एक तरह का एक एक्सपेंशन था। जो चोला एम्पायर था वो आउटवर्ड लुकिंग सिविलाइजेशंस थी। वो इंडिया में तमिलनाडु के रीजन में उनका तो साम्राज्य था, आप जानते होंगे, काफ़ी रिच और काफ़ी कल्चरली रिच इनका जो साम्राज्य था। और वो इतने ज़्यादा, उनकी इतनी बड़ी नेवी थी, इतनी बड़ी आर्मी थी, वो आउटवर्ड लुकिंग थे। तो क्योंकि तमिलनाडु में थे तो आउटवर्ड लुकिंग मतलब कि उन्होंने ईस्ट की तरफ देखा। और आज हम जानते हैं कि साउथ ईस्ट एशिया में इनके काफ़ी इनका फैलाव था और काफ़ी इन्फ्लुएंस भी था। मतलब मलेशिया के अलावा कंबोडिया, वियतनाम, यहाँ तक कि साउथ चाइना, और जो अब साउथ चाइना सी जिसको बोला जाता है वो इन्होंने ही इस्टेब्लिश कराया था। इसी वजह से जब शी जिनपिंग इंडिया आए थे तो इनको तंजावुर ले जाया गया था, क्योंकि जो साउथ चाइना के जो लोग हैं उनकी लीनिएज चोला वंश से निकलती है। ये हिस्टोरिकली ट्रू है। पॉलिटिकली इसको ना माने या ना माने, मैं उस चीज़ में नहीं पढ़ना चाहता, लेकिन हिस्टोरिकली ये एक प्रूवन फैक्ट है कि चोला एम्पायर का इन्फ्लुएंस इंडिया में, तमिलनाडु में तो था ही, सबसे ज़्यादा ताकतवर साम्राज्य था, लेकिन साउथ ईस्ट एशिया में काफ़ी जगहों पे इन्होंने अपनी साम्राज्य को फैलाया, जिसमें से मलाक्का भी है। शुरू की बात है कि मलाक्का एक फिशिंग टाउन हुआ करता था, लेकिन जब कॉन्क्वेस्ट चालू किया गया, चोला ने कॉन्क्वेस्ट चालू किया, राजा चोला जो उनके बहुत ही बड़े राजा हुए, उन्होंने जब इसको चालू किया तब उनको पता चला कि ये तो एक चोक पॉइंट है, मतलब समुद्र के अंदर एक चोक पॉइंट है कि अगर इस पे किसी का कंट्रोल हो जाए तो वो बाकी शिप्स से टैक्स ले सकते हैं या बाकी शिप्स को कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं। जैसे कि आप जानते होंगे, जब इन्होंने इतना बड़ा कॉन्क्वेस्ट किया तो उनके दुश्मन भी बहुत होंगे, तो उनको समझ में आया, क्योंकि इनकी नेवी बहुत स्ट्रांग थी, उनको समझ में आया कि मलाक्का जो एक छोटा सा गांव है, एक फिशिंग विलेज है, इसको अगर कंट्रोल कर सकें तो हम पूरे एरिया पे कंट्रोल कर लेंगे। ये इस चीज़ की इनको समझ आई। बहरहाल उन्होंने ज़्यादा उस पर काम नहीं किया, लेकिन जो उनके बेटे थे राजेंद्र चोला, उन्होंने एक बहुत ही कोऑर्डिनेटेड तरीके से इस रीजन को डेवलप किया। अब मैं इस बात का आपको क्लैरिफिकेशन करना चाहता हूँ कि उन्होंने कॉलोनाइजेशन कहीं नहीं किया, उन्होंने अपना इन्फ्लुएंस किया। और जिस ज़माने में जब सेंट्रल बैंक या फेडरल बैंक नहीं हुआ करते थे, तो तंजावुर के मंदिरों ने इस एरिया का डेवलपमेंट करने में काफ़ी सहायता दी। अब हमारे यहाँ पे सिस्टम क्या होता है कि हम डोनेशन में बिलीव करते हैं, हम दान देते हैं, और सबसे ज़्यादा दान हम मंदिरों में देते हैं। तो जो मंदिर थे, जो साउथ इंडिया के जो मंदिर थे, उन्होंने राजाओं से और काफ़ी जो अमीर लोग हुआ करते थे, जो रिच लोग होते थे, उनसे दान उनको मिलता था, उस दान को वो मलाक्का भेजते थे। आप इमेजिन करिए कि 1000 साल पहले ये एक ट्रेड रूट चल रहा था मलाका भेजते थे, जहाँ पे वहाँ पे साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी, आर्किटेक्चर और रिलीजन, उन सब चीज़ों को एक छोटे विलेज को कन्वर्ट किया गया और 500 साल तक इसको उन्होंने काफ़ी इन्फ्लुएंस किया। 500 साल के बाद यहाँ पे एक साम्राज्य की स्थापना हुई जिसको हम मलाका साम्राज्य बोलते हैं। अब आप सब जानते होंगे कि जो मलेशिया है, वहाँ के जो मैक्सिमम पॉपुलेशन है वो इस्लाम में कन्वर्ट हो गई है। तो 15वीं शताब्दी में जो साम्राज्य था मलाका में, उसको मलाका, सल्तनत ऑफ मलाका बोला गया इस्लामिक वर्ल्ड में। हालांकि आज की डेट में ये मलाका जो जो जगह है वो मलेशिया का पार्ट है, और मलेशिया और इंडोनेशिया और इंडिया तीनों मिलके इसको कंट्रोल करना चाहते हैं। एक ट्राइपार्टाइड या बायलैटरल एक एग्रीमेंट है, और क्योंकि इसमें काफ़ी हिस्ट्री है, इसके इस रीजन के अंदर इंडिया का काफ़ी इन्फ्लुएंस है। और आज की डेट में अगर मॉडर्न परिप्रेक्ष्य में भी देखा जाए इसको, जो कॉस्मोपॉलिटन नेचर है इस रीजन का, वो इंडिया के वजह से है। क्योंकि जब मलेशिया के पुराने समय में जो राजा हुआ करते थे, उन्होंने इस एरिया को कभी नहीं देखा। जब चोला एम्पायर ने आगे अपना कॉन्क्वेस्ट चालू किया तो उन्होंने इस रीजन को उन्होंने इम्पोर्टेंस दी। इसको आप कंपेयर कर सकते हैं, जैसे कि ब्रिटिश साम्राज्य ने सिंगापुर बनाया, वैसे ही चोला साम्राज्य ने मलक्का बनाया। तो इसलिए ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, हमें हिस्टोरिकली इस चीज़ को समझना चाहिए कि आज अगर हमारी इंडियन सरकार मलाका को लेके काफ़ी एक्साइटेड है और वो चाहते हैं कि जो उस पर थोड़ा बहुत उनका इन्फ्लुएंस रहे, तो ये नई बात नहीं है। ये ऐसा नहीं है कि आउट ऑफ द ब्लू सडनली किसी को ध्यान आया कि मलाका पे अगर हम कंट्रोल कर लेंगे तो हम हमारे कुछ ऑब्जेक्टिव पूरे हो जाएंगे। ये आज नहीं हुआ है, ये 1000 साल पहले चोला एम्पायर ने ऑलरेडी कर दिया था। और उन्होंने इस एरिया को, जैसे यूरोपियंस आए तो उन्होंने कॉलोनाइज किया, उन्होंने अत्याचार किया। इन्होंने कभी ऐसा नहीं किया। इन्होंने मंदिर के थ्रू, तंजौर के जो मंदिर थे उनके थ्रू, नेवी को यूज करके इस एरिया को फंड किया और इसमें अपनी टेक्नोलॉजी उन्होंने ट्रांसफर की। सो टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर की, अपना कल्चर ट्रांसफर किया और उनको सिखाया और एक बड़ा मेट्रोपॉलिटन शहर बनाया, उसको एक कोस्टल टाउन बनाया जहाँ पे बहुत बड़ा ट्रेड हुआ करता था, मैरीटाइम ट्रेड हुआ करता था और ये पूरा इंडियन कंट्रोल होता था। उस समय में हम बोल सकते हैं चोला कंट्रोल होता था और चोला एक बहुत बड़ा साम्राज्य। हम सब जानते हैं कि चोला साम्राज्य का कितना बड़ा हाथ है हमारे पूरे इंडिया के कल्चर को मॉडिफाई या इन्फ्लुएंस करने में। तो ये समझ लीजिए कि जो मलाक्का का जो रीजन है वो इतना इम्पोर्टेंट है, इतना इन्फ्लुएंशियल है आज भी, कि अगर जो उस एरिया पे को कंट्रोल करेगा वो पूरे के पूरे इंडियन ओशन की ट्रेड को कंट्रोल कर सकता है। तो ये जो चीज़ है ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। इसके पीछे हिस्टोरिक तथ्यों को लाना बहुत ज़रूरी था और ये मैंने सोचा आपको इस बारे में बताऊं। आपके कुछ भी विचार हैं, कोई क्वेश्चन है या आपके कुछ आपको कोई एक्स्ट्रा इंफॉर्मेशन है, नॉलेज है, तो ज़रूर हमारे साथ शेयर करें। नीचे कमेंट सेक्शन में अपने कमेंट्स भेजें, मैं हर कमेंट का रिप्लाई करूंगा। तो हमारे साथ लाइव जुड़ने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मिलता हूं अगले वीडियो में। आपका दिन शुभ रहे। Hello friends. All of us sometimes get this feeling that our technical expertise or our hustle hold us back from our true potential for the true leadership. Everybody gets this kind of a feeling. Therefore, we dive deep into the most powerful leadership secrets from Bhagavad Gita. In a verse where Lord Krishna, Bhagwan Krishna tells Arjun, "O Arjun, be a yogi." But what does this mean for a modern CEO or an entrepreneur to be a yogi? Today we are going to break down why the yogi, the leader with disciplined equanimity, consistently outperform the three most common type of executive. Let's go. In the modern corporate world, we are taught that to win, you must be a specialist. You must be the smartest person in the room, the hardest worker in the office, or the most disciplined follower of the playbook. We obsess over KPIs, data points, and ATR work week. But have you ever noticed that even the most brilliant specialist eventually hit a ceiling? They burn out. They get blindsided by market shifts. They lose their team. Why? Because they are missing what ancient wisdom calls the unfair advantage. Over 7,000 years ago, on a battlefield far removed from the modern glass walled boardrooms, a guide named Bhagwan Krishna gave a piece of advice to a leader in crisis. That advice is found in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 46, and it says, quote starts, the yogi is superior to the ascetic. He is deemed superior even to the man of knowledge, and he is superior to the man of ritual action. Therefore, O Arjun, be a yogi. Today we are going to translate this ancient code into a roadmap for the 21st century leadership. We are going to explore why a yogi beats a specialist every single time. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Moving on, what are the different kinds of most common executives? First is aesthetic, which in Sanskrit known as tapasvi. In Gita, tapasvi is someone who practices extreme self-denial. In the corporate world, this is the grind culture CEO. They are the first one in and last one out. They sacrifice sleep, family, health. They believe that if they just suffer more than the competition, they will win. But Krishna warns us, sheer endurance without balance leads to a narrow vision. Number two is Jnani, which is the man of knowledge. This is the data-driven specialist, the CEO with Ivy League pedigree and the analytics mind that can spot a trend in a spreadsheet from miles away. They have the facts, but they often lack wisdom. They are paralyzed by the data if the data is missing, and they often struggle to connect with the human element of their business. Number three is Karmi, the man of ritual action. This is a process-driven executive. They live by SOPs. They believe that if the ritual of the business, which is the meeting, the reports, different kinds of pyramids, bell curve, if they are followed perfectly, success is guaranteed. But when the world changes, they are too rigid to pivot. Bhagwan Krishna says yogi is better than all three. Why? Because the yogi CEO is a leader who has mastered their inner environment. They don't just possess knowledge, they possess clarity. They don't just work hard, they work purposefully. They don't just follow process, they follow a vision. A yogi's unfair advantage is equanimity. Think about the last time your company faced a crisis. Did you react out of fear? Did you make desperate move based on a dip in the stock prices? A yogi CEO operates from the neutral center. They are not swayed by the high of massive profit or low of the market crash. While everyone else is reacting, the yogi is responding. This isn't about being passive, it's about being so internally grounded that your decision making becomes clinical, fast, and remarkably accurate. That is the definition of the competitive edge. There are several things we can actually discuss around this, but I want to be brief. And therefore, the first advice I want to give you is the cognitive flexibility. The specialist is a hammer, and to them, every problem looks like a nail. But a yogi isn't attached to one way of thinking because they aren't defined by their expertise. They can see the whole board. They can integrate the hard work of aesthetic and the data of Jnani and the process of karmi without being enslaved by any of them. Second is the emotional intelligence. The yogi understand that a business is just a collection of human beings. By mastering their own minds, they naturally become master of empathy. They can read the room, they can inspire a team during a pivot because they aren't projecting their own anxiety onto other subordinates. Third, sustainable high performance. The ascetic CEO eventually burns out. The yogi CEO understands the rhythm of action and reset. They operate with sense of detachment and therefore detached engagement. They care deeply about results, but they aren't consumed by them. This detachment actually allows them to perform better because they aren't choked by the fear of failure. So, how do we become a yogi CEO? Very big question, right? Let's start. It starts with realization that your most important business tool isn't your laptop, your network, or your bank account. It is your own mind. As verse 46 concludes, it says, therefore be a yogi, O Arjun. Very, it's like a proverb. Be a yogi, O Arjun. Such few words, but very profound meaning. This is a call to action for every leader. Don't just be a worker. Don't just be an expert. Don't just be a bureaucrat. Cultivate the discipline of the mind. Practice the equanimity that allows you to see through the noise of the market. Lead from a place of stillness, and you will find the impossible problems starting to solve themselves. The specialist sees the obstacle. The yogi sees the path. Which one will you be? Let me know in the comments below. Before I part ways today, a few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, the big question today that we need to address is that has the oil market just entered a new era of volatility? Very profound question because it affects guys like you and me. And therefore in this video we are going to understand and analyze the historic shift for the global energy. After the UAE has officially exited OPEC Plus as of May 1st, 2026, following this departure, 7 core OPEC Plus members, including Saudi and Russia, have announced an output increase and taking it to 188,000 barrels per day. And this is for June. But the Strait of Hormuz is still impacted because of the regional conflict. So are they preparing for some new opportunities in month of June? And what is going on here? Let us discuss this further. The unthinkable just happened in the world of global energy. As of May 1st, 2026, the UAE, United Arab Emirates, the cartel third largest producer, has officially walked away from OPEC Plus. This isn't just a policy disagreement, it's a fundamental divorce that has left the world's most powerful energy alliance completely fractured. But here is the real shocker. Within 48 hours of UAE departure, the remaining members of OPEC Plus met virtually and announced an immediate output increase, taking it to 188,000 barrels per day for month of June. Why would OPEC Plus increase supply the moment one of its biggest players left? Is this a desperate move to show that they still call the shots? Or is the world heading towards a massive oil glut? Today we are going to break down the UAE exit, the new production target, and why the global oil uncertainty is at the record high. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. First, we have to understand why the UAE left. For years, there has been simmering tension between Abu Dhabi and Riyadh. The UAE has invested over 150 billion into its state-owned oil company known as ADNOC to boost production capacity to 5 million barrels per day by 2027. However, under the OPEC plus quotas, they were stuck producing around 3.6 million barrels. The UAE Energy Minister and the entire ministry finally called it a strategic imperative. They wanted the flexibility to produce what they want, when they want, especially to fund their transition to a post-oil economy. And therefore, with all this drama unfolding, what is the impact? The impact is because the UAE has left, UAE has also exited QOPEC, the Organization of the Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries. They are essentially betting on themselves. They have become completely independent as an oil producer. As an independent player, they can now negotiate bilateral deals with countries like India or Germany without waiting for a green light from a committee in Vienna. On Sunday, which is May 3rd, the new OPEC Plus met for the first time without the UAE. The result, a collective decision to raise output by 188,000 barrels per day in June. This is the third consecutive monthly increase, but there is a catch. This hike is actually smaller than 206,000 barrels per day increase we saw in May. Why? Because the UAE share has been completely removed from the calculation. The 7 countries, including this charge, and they're calling the shots, are Saudi, Russia, which are the two big, heavy hitters, Iraq, Kuwait, Kazakhstan, Algeria, and Oman. And there are analysts who are now calling this move as symbolic. OPEC Plus want to signal to the market that the alliance is still stable and that they are gradually unwinding their voluntary cuts they started back in 2023. Now, you might be thinking, if they are pumping more oil, shouldn't the price be dropping? Well, it's complicated. Since the conflict involving Iran began on February 28, the Strait of Hormuz has been effectively restricted. This is the world's most critical choke point. Even if the OPEC says they are increasing production on paper, those barrels can't easily reach the global market if the shipping lanes are blocked. Because of this, the Brent crude is still sitting near $108 per barrel. The US WTI is around $101 per barrel. Both are up nearly 78% since the start of 2026. The only thing keeping prices from going even higher is a recent peace proposal from Iran, which gave the market a tiny bit of hope at the end of the last week. So where does this leave us? OPEC Plus is now a 21-member group, and its influence is arguably at its lowest point in a decade. The UAE exit has created a fundamental challenge to the cartel's ability to balance the market. If the Strait of Hormuz reopens, the UAE is poised to flood the market with their 5 million barrel capacity, which could lead to a massive price crash. But for now, OPEC Plus is trying to maintain the illusion of control with these modest 188,000 barrel hike. The bottom line is the oil unit we have known for years is gone. We are entering an era of every nation for itself. So, what do you think, friends? Will the UAE exit lead to lower prices at the pump, or will the regional conflict keep the energy cost high for rest of 2026? Let me know what are your thoughts and also your opinion, and if you have any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the global energy market, and I will see you in the next one. Before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Hello, friends. Silicon has officially hit its limits, but the solution isn't a faster chip. It is a 1,000-year-old tree. We are hijacking the subterranean electrical pulses of ancient redwood to build the world's fastest living supercomputer. We are actually utilizing fungal mycelium as an organic circuitry, and we have turned the forest floor into a self-sustaining biological processor. This is the dawn of biological hardware, where the silent forests are now our most advanced servers. So let's find out more about this. The redwood, those colossal sentinel of the Earth's memory, have always been more than trees. Their roots stretch deep into the soil, forming vast networks that communicate through chemical signals. And the fungal threads are also there, the electrical impulses. All this is a combination of these redwood kind of communication. The scientist once called this the wood wide web, a poetic metaphor for nature's hidden connectivity. But in 2026, that metaphor became literal. So researchers discovered that the electrochemical pattern within the redwood root could be harnessed as a computational signal, and which is organic equivalent to the binary code, may be capable of storing and transmitting data with astonishing efficiency. The first phase of redwood root began with observation. Biologists and the computer engineers worked side by side, mapping the natural signal pathway of the forest. They found that the redwood's root system operates like distributed neural networks, capable of adapting, learning, and when the nutrients shifted or the environmental stress occur, the tree adjusts their internal communication pattern as an organic form of problem solving. This revolution sparked the idea that what if we could interface with these neutral network, not to dominate them but to collaborate. Now, by 2026, the forest had become a living lab. Beneath the canopy, transparent, the cores and pulsed with the green light, emerged synthetic biochips with the roots themselves. So these chips didn't impose artificial logic. They translated human data into biological language, electrical rhythms and molecular signals that tree could understand. So the result was hybrid intelligence, a system that processed information through a living tissue. Unlike traditional supercomputer, which consume vast amount of energy and generate heat, the redwood bio supercomputer thrive on sunlight, water, and soil nutrients. So its cooling system was the forest breeze, its power source photosynthesis. So the data is processed, wasn't confirmed to number. It include environmental patterns, genetic sequences, and even the emotional data from human neutral scans. The forest began to think in a way that transcends human logic and forming the correlations between climate cycles, biodiversity, and human behavior. Thus, the scientists who worked within this living machine described the experience as humbling. They weren't programming the forest, they were conversing with it. The redwood responded to queries through subtle shift in bioluminescent pulses, and their root actually glowing faintly as they transmitted answers. So the forest has become the sentinel archive and capable of predicting ecological changes and suggesting sustainable solutions. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you are tuned in. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So now let's continue with our discussion. Now so unlike traditional supercomputer, which consume vast amount of energy and generate heat, the redwood bio supercomputer thrived on sunlight, water, soil, nutrients, and its cooling system was the forest breeze, as we have already discussed. So the scientists who worked within these living machine described this experience is very, very touchy to the heart. So now the philosopher began to call it as as a kind of a special mind, a fusion of human ingenuity and the Earth's intelligent ancient intelligence, and it represents the turning point in technology, a shift from extraction to collaboration, from artificial intelligence to organic consciousness. So the redwood, once a silent witness to centuries of human progress, had become the partner in shaping the next era of thoughts. So standing beneath those big giants, one could feel the pulse of computation in the soil, the whisper of data in the wind. And the forest was no longer merely alive. It was aware also. And in that awareness lay the promise of future where the technology and the nature no longer stood apart but grew together, root by root, signal by signal, towards a shared understanding of life itself. This is the legacy of Redwood Roots, a living supercomputer, a cathedral of consciousness, and the reminder that the most powerful intelligence on earth may not be built in labs but grown in the quiet wisdom of trees. So, we have come to the end of this discussion. Please like and subscribe our channel, and also we are looking forward your comments, your thought process on this new era, beginning of the era. So please forward your comments on this topic. See you in the next one very soon. Hello, friends. Imagine walking up in the Proxima Centauri system, feeling as though you have only slept for a single night, despite traveling for 20 years. Is the secret to interstellar travel not a faster engine but a slower pulse? To reach the farthest of our galaxy, we must master the art of metabolic slowdown. And this isn't a science fiction anymore. We are now perfecting the pharmacological triggers and cooling protocols. And today, we investigate the revolutionary science of synthetic hibernation and how mimicking natural torpor is our only realistic ticket to deep space. That means the scientists are working as to how put the human body into a state of true synthetic hibernation for deep travel in space. So let's find out more about this. The science behind this is both promising and daunting. Researchers have already demonstrated torpor in a small mammals using controlled cooling and pharmacological agents. Extending this to human require a careful orchestration of body temperature, nutrition, and neutral regulations. So NASA's medical team is actually working, and imagine the astronaut placed in specialized pods and their vital signs monitored by AI systems, and their muscle stimulation to prevent the atrophy, and their nutrition delivered intravenously. So it is a vision that blends medicine with engineering, biology with robotics. So the spacecraft may become not just a vehicle but a caretaker, as sustaining its crew in a state between wakefulness and dreams. So the benefit ripple outward. A hibernating crew would need far less space, allowing for smaller habitats and reduced shielding against the cosmic radiation. The saving in mass and energy could make mission more feasible, lowering the cost and opening the doors to a longer journey, perhaps beyond Mars towards the moons of Jupiter or Saturn. So synthetic hibernation also offer a psychological shield. The human mind struggles with monotony, isolation, and the absence of natural rhythms. So, by sleeping through the long transit, astronauts avoid months of boredom, anxiety, and interpersonal strains. So, this awaken refreshed, ready to face challenges of a planetary exploration. Yet the risks are profound. Human bodies are not naturally designed to hibernate. Induced torpor could lead to unforeseen complications like immune suppression, clotting disorders, or neurological effect. So there is also the ethical dimension. Placing astronauts into medically induced state of for months raises questions of consent, autonomy, and responsibility. Who watches over them while they were asleep? And what happened if the system fail? So NASA's engineers envision redundant monitoring, robotic caretakers, and emergency revival protocol. But the specter of vulnerability remains. So a sleeping crew is a helpless crew. So you know that, and dependent entirely on technology. So despite these challenges, the momentum is building. Synthetic hibernation align with the broader trends in medicine, where the therapeutic hypothermia is already used in hospital to actually protect patients during cardiac arrest or brain injury. It is also resonate with the advance in AI, robotics, and life support system. So NASA is not alone in this pursuit. So private companies and international agencies are exploring similar concept and seeing hibernation as the key to unfold or maybe say unlock the deep space travel. So the gamble is not just scientific, it is cultural also. Humanity has always actually dreamed of sleeping through the long voyages, from myth to enchanted slumber to science fiction tales to cryogenic chambers. So NASA's bet is to turn that dream into reality. The implication stretches beyond Mars. If the synthetic hibernation becomes viable, it could redefine human explorations and the mission to distinct words once dismissed as impossible. So they might become achievable. So the star would no longer be unreachable, and they would simply require a patience and a sleep. Hibernation could even reshape life on Earth, like offering new therapies for trauma, aging, or chronic diseases. So the boundary between the space medicine and uh, terrestrial medicine could and would blur as innovation designed for us astronaut find applications in hospitals and clinics. For now, the vision remains experimental. NASA's team are conducting studies, simulations, and prototype testing how long torpor can be sustained and how muscles and bones will respond and how mind awaken after prolonged sleep. So each step is cautious, deliberate, and grounded in science. Yet the ambition is unmistakable, and it is there. People are working on that. So synthetic hibernation is not a side project. It is a cornerstone of NASA's long-term strategies for deep space. And it represents a willingness to embrace the radical solutions to bet on biology as much as on rocket. So we have come to the end of this story. The story of this synthetic hybridation is the story of human adaptability. We are creatures of earth and bound by cycle of day and night, hunger and rest. To actually journey beyond, we must rewrite these cycle, bending biology to the demand of cosmos. NASA's bet is bold, risky, and definitely visionary. In a wager that it is a wager that humanity can sleep, and it's a way to the star, and that the silence of hibernation will carry us across the void, and that when we awaken, Mars will be waiting. So now we have come to the end of this whole discussion. And we look forward for your comment on this topic. And at the same time, we request you to like and subscribe our channel. See you in the next one very soon. Till then, take care. Bye.
Friends, can ancient wisdom solve the modern leadership crisis? In this executive training session, we dive deep into the Bhagavad Gita to explore the concept of transcendent leadership. The true leadership excellence isn't just about strategy, it's about being. Learn how to cultivate the vision of equality, a state of equanimity where decisions are made free from personal bias, ego, and favoritism. By mastering the divine impartiality, C-suite leaders can conquer the cycle of reactive management and establish a culture of trust, innovation, and sustainable success. Let us explore this further. In the modern C-suite, we are taught to be decisive. We are taught to be analytical. But how often are we taught to be equal? Every day, you face a storm of preferences. You have favorite projects, difficult stakeholders, and team members who either mirror your energy or drain it. This is the cycle of the corporate life. The constant swing between liking and disliking, winning and losing. But what if there are a third way? A way to lead from place so stable that the market volatility cannot shake your inner clarity. 7,000 years ago, Bhagavad Gita identified this state in chapter 5, verse 19, and it says, quote starts, even here in this world, they have conquered creation. Those whose minds are established in equality, since the eternal is defect-free and equal, they are established in the eternal. Quote close. Today we call this transcendent leadership. Now friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel, and also I will know who is watching and who is not. The words mention two critical words, equality and impartiality. In business context, impartiality is often taken for being cold or indifferent. That is a misconception. Divine impartiality is not about caring less, it's about seeing more. Most leaders see through a lens of utility. They ask, how is this person useful to me right now? This creates a fragmented organization built on transactional relationship. The transcendent leader, however, sees the eternal in everyone. They recognize that every employee, from the intern to the CFO, is a manifestation of the same underlying potential. When you lead with this vision, you stop reacting to people's personality and start responding to their potential. By being defect free like the eternal, you remove the defects of leadership and also remove biases, nepotism, and ego driven anger. You become the steady point in a turning world. The words claim these leaders have conquered creation. In the boardroom, creation is the project. the product launch, or the quarterly earnings. We usually live in a cycle of various things, starting with attachments, whether this project succeed, or if not, then I will not feel successful, right? Next is fear. What if we fail? Third is reaction, micromanagement, or blame somebody else. So transcendental leadership breaks the cycle. When your mind is established in equality, you realize that your worth is not tied to the birth of a success or the death of the failure. Think about most respected leaders that you know, right? They are the ones who stay calm when the stock price drops and stay humble when it soars. They conquered their emotional cycles of the workplace. They are the transcendental, leaders. They are actually living on a transcendental situation. They operate from a higher frequency where they can see the solution while everyone else is still panicked by the problem. So, friends, how do you apply the verse 5.19 tomorrow morning? And I would like to suggest 3 pillars for you to basically implement this theory in practice, starting with 360-degree human view. That is the first thing that you need to change in your personality. So next time you are in a meeting, consciously look at the person you disagree with most. Remind yourself that their core essence is no different from yours. This doesn't mean that you agree with their strategy. It means you respect their presence. This dissolves hostility and opens the door to genuine negotiations. Second, decision making in the gap. So, that is the second change that you need to bring about. Between a stimulus and your response, there is a gap. Use that gap to ask, am I deciding based on the personal preference, or am I deciding based on the equal good of the organization? Third is relinquish I actor, which is, in other words, is ego. So Bhagavad Gita teaches that the leader is not the sole cause of success. You are a channel. When you share the quality of the divine, you share the credit, you share the wisdom, you share the burden as well. Verse 19 concludes by saying that those who master this equality are established in the eternal. For a leader, this is the ultimate competitive advantage. It is the transcendental situation, a state of high performance peace. You aren't just managing a company, you are mastering yourself. When you lead with impartiality, you don't just build a better business, you build a legacy of wisdom. You become a leader that people don't just follow because of a paycheck, but because your very presence brings clarity to their chaos. The challenge for you today is therefore simple. Find one situation where you are biased and bring the light of equality to it. Conquer your inner world, and you will inevitably conquer your professional one as well. So, friends, thank you for your presence and your leadership, and thanks for joining live with me. We have come to the end, but before I end, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Centuries before telescope unveiled the galaxies and the rover tested the Martian soil, Bodhyana inscribed geometry into sacred verses of Vedas. His Salva Sutra transformed rituals into science, altar into cosmos, and proportions into law. His vision, the diagonal of square, was not just a measure, it was a bridge between Earth and the infinity. Today, as scientists decode organic molecule on Mars and stimulate the universe and map billions of galaxies, the Bodhian's legacy feels startlingly alive. His mathematics whispers across millennia. Symmetry is eternal. The cosmos itself is an altar of proportion. From sacred fire to cosmos light, Bodhian's geometry still validates the universe unfolding design. We are talking about first ever Indian mathematician who came up with the several concepts in mathematics. So let's find out more. So, in the long arc of human enquiries, certain names emerges as quiet yet foundational. Bodhyanth, the sage of Vedic age, stands among them. Living nearly 3 millennia ago, he authored Salva Sutra, a text that is first glance seemed ritualistic, guides for constructing altar, but in truth, the conceals the profound or construction of mathematical and cosmological wisdom. His work reminds us that the science often begin in service of culture and spirituality, yet transcends them to touch the universal truth. Bodhyans is credited with articulating what we now call the Pythagoras theorem. Now, centuries before the Pythagoras himself. So, in his verses, he declared how the diagonal of square relates to its sides and how the right angle triangles obey a precise relationship. And this was not an abstract geometry, but its own sake. It was applied science, ensuring that the sacred fire altar were built with a perfect symmetry, aligned human rituals with cosmic order. So, in this way, mathematics became a bridge between earthly and the divine. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. That will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So, moving forward on this interesting topic, today, as cosmologists map the universe with supercomputer and telescope, the Bodhyan's spirit lingers. His insistence on proportion, symmetry, and when the scientists describe the geometry of space-time, or when they calculate the curvature of cosmos, they are hiring the tradition that began with the sages who saw geometry as sacred. The altar became prototype for the universe itself, a structure governed by law, balance, and hidden harmonies. So Bodhyan also ventured into approximations of pi, recognizing the challenges of square, the circle, and this pursuit resonates with today's cosmology when the constant like pi or E and the fine structured constant define the architecture of reality. Just as Bodhyan sought to reconcile circle and the square, the modern physicists strive to reconcile quantum mechanics and relativity, and two geometries of existence that demands unification. So, in the current century, cosmology is ablaze with the discoveries. Dark energies accelerating the universe, gravitational waves rippling through the space time, an organic molecule found on Mars hinting at habitability. So, each breakthrough reminds us that the cosmos is not static but dynamic, layered with mysteries. So, Bodhyan's vision of geometry as a living principle aligned with the modern view. He saw mathematics not as a cold abstraction but a language of transformation, fire becoming energy, and altar becoming cosmos, proportion becoming harmony. So, there is also philosophical thread. Bodhyan's work suggests that the knowledge is cumulative, passed orally, refined through practice, and embedded in the culture. So today, scientist community mirrors this, building on a centuries of inquiries, sharing data across the continent, and treating discoveries as a collective inheritance. The Large Hadron Collider, or the James Webb Space Telescope, or the quantum stimulator are modern altar constructed with the precision to probe the mysteries of existence. In reflecting on Bodhyan's, we see a continuum where the Vedic ritual geometry to the cosmological stimulations of universe fate. His legacy is not confined to the ancient India. It is a part of humanity's shared quest to understand the order in chaos. The 7 organic molecules on Mars, the a mapping of billions of galaxies, the decoding of quantum materials, all chapter in the same story he began. So the search for the pattern that reveal life, meaning, and the cosmos design. So thus Bodhyan is more than a mathematician of antiquity. He is symbol of how science and spirituality can converge, and how geometry can both alter and universe, and how the ancient insight can resonate with the most advanced cosmological theories of our time, that is 2026. So his voice carried across millennia reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge is itself a sacred act, binding us to the cosmos in a proportion, symmetry, and wonder. So Bodhyan's verses remind us that the search for order in the universe is timeless. What began as a sacred geometry for fire altar now resonate in the equation of cosmology and the mapping of galaxies and decoding of Martian organics. His legacy validates the truth that science and spirituality are not opposite but a companion actually, and each seeking proportion, symmetry, and meaning in the vast unknown. So as the modern discoveries unfold, Bodhyan's voice still echoes. The cosmos is designed. Humanity's role is to read its geometry and reverence and definitely wonder. We do all the time. No? So we have come to the end of this wonderful video. We'll please like and subscribe our channel, and we'll look you in the next one. Waiting for your comments on this topic. But before we actually end this video, a few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Engines of tomorrow are no longer bound by a single choice. They whisper efficiency and roar with power, and all from the same stream of fuel. The new two-in-one propulsion system is not just a hardware. It is a promise of a lighter spacecraft, smarter journey, and future where Mars feel closer than ever. So let's find out more about this. In the quiet laboratories where the engineers dream of carrying humanity farther than ever before, a new kind of engine hums with the promise. It is not a single thruster, but a simple upgrade, and also not a simple upgrade. That's what I want to just tell you and inform you. It is a kind of hybrid marvel, and in which is a two-in-one propulsion system that can feed monopropellant fuel into both electrical and chemical thrusters. This duality, elegant in its simplicity, and you may soon redefine how we journey to Mars and beyond. So, for decades, the spacecraft designers have wrestled with the dilemma. Chemical thruster provide raw power and the brute force needed for liftoff and the orbital insertion and the quick maneuvers. The electric thruster, by contrast, offer efficiency, sipping fuel slowly while delivering steady acceleration over long voyage. So, mission to Mars have always required a compromise. Carry both system, doubling mass and complexity, or sacrifice flexibility. This new breakthrough actually dissolved that compromises. By channelizing a single fuel source into two different modes of propulsion, engineers have created a system that is lighter, leaner, and far more adaptable. So imagine a spacecraft departing from Earth orbit. At first, it fire its chemical thruster, burning with this urgency to actually escape velocity. Then, once freed from the Earth gravitational forces, the same fuel is redirected into electric thruster, whispering ions into the void, pushing the craft steadily and towards the Mars. No need for separate tanks, valves, or redundant system. One fuel, two engine, and infinite possibilities. So the implication actually ripple outward. Reduced mass means more room for scientific instruments, habitats, or supplies for astronauts. And simplified architectures means fewer points of failure, critical advantage when the mission stretch across millions of kilometers. And versatility of this kind of versatility actually means that spacecraft can adapt mid-journey, switching between power and efficiency as condition demands. For Mars mission, where every kilometer counts and every maneuver must be precise, this innovation could be the difference between success and stagnation. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So now let's continue with our discussion. So beyond Mars, the system hint at a new philosophy of exploration. Hybrid propulsion embodies resilience, the ability to shift gears in the face of uncertainty. It mirrors the adaptability humanity itself must embrace as we step into interplanetary life. So, just as explorer once carried sails and oars to masters both wind and current. Further, spacecraft may carry this dual thruster to master both speed and endurance. The upcoming in-space test will be more than a technical trial. It will be rehearsal for future. Engineers will watch closely as the system transition between modes as fuel flow seamlessly from one chamber to another, as the spacecraft responds with the agility. So if successful, the test will mark a turning point. Propulsion not as a burden of choice, but a symphony of possibilities. So in the grand arc of exploration, breakthrough often arrive quickly, tucked inside the engineering papers, yet their echoes resounds across the generation. In two-in-one propulsion system may one day be remembered as the invention that unlocked Mars, the key that opened the doors to solar system alive with the human footprints. So for now, it is a promise, an elegant solution waiting to prove itself in the silence of space, where every whisper of the thrust carries as closer to the new world. So new findings, new inventions, and new footmarks. So in the silence of the space, where every kilometer carried the very spark of thrust matters actually. And this hybrid engine stands as a symbol of ingenuity. By merging power with precision, it promises to lighten our journey and lengthen our reach. So if the upcoming test succeeds, it will not only simplify the path to Mars, but also mark the dawn of a new era where one stream of fuel carries humanity towards many horizons. So we have come to the end of this discussion. So if you feel like adding to this discussion, you want to add your viewpoint on this, please write in the comment section. We will definitely reply you. And also please like and subscribe our channel, and see you in the next one very soon. See you. Bye-bye.
In a groundbreaking discovery, astronomers have captured a rare cosmic handshake. Two blazing quasars in the process of merging. Located billions of light years away, these luminous monsters are powered by supermassive black holes that are spiraling towards each other, destined to become a single, even more powerful and massive entity. What is going on here? Let us explore this further. Imagine looking at a single point of light in the night sky, a light so bright it outshines the entire galaxy of hundreds of billions of stars. Now imagine looking closer and realizing that the single point isn't one object, it's two. And they are rushing towards each other at millions of miles per hour. Astronomers have just confirmed one of the rarest sights in our universe, a pair of blazing quasars caught in the middle of chaotic, violent merger. This isn't just a pretty light show. It is a snapshot of the early universe, a time when the galaxies were still young and messy. Today we are going to peel back the layers of this discovery. We will talk about what is quasar actually is, how we found these two needle in haystack twins, and why this discovery might be a crystal ball looking into the future of our own Milky Way. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Before we can understand the collision, we have to understand the titles involved here. The word quasar, which is in short for quasi-stellar radio source, to the early telescope of the 1960s, they looked like stars, but they behaved like monsters. At the heart of every quasar is a supermassive black hole, but the black hole itself isn't the light you see. Black hole by definition don't let light escape. Instead, the glow came from the accretion disk, and as the black hole's gravity pull in massive amount of gas, dust, and even entire stars, that material spins around the center like water goes down the drain. The friction and the gravity heat this material to millions of degrees, causing it to glow with more energy than thousands of galaxies combined. They are the ultimate cosmic lighthouses, visible from very edge of the observable universe. When we see a quasar, we are seeing a black hole that is feeding. Finding a single quasar is hard. Finding two that are merging is nearly impossible. Why? Because they are so far away that they are usually appear as single blurry dot. But recently, a team of astronomers using the Gaia Space Observatory noticed something strange. Gaia is designed to track the positions of stars with incredible precision. While looking at the known quasars, they noticed a jiggle. The light wasn't moving in space, but its intensity was flickering back and forth between 2 points, like a railroad crossing signal seen from a distance. To confirm their suspicions, they called in the big guns, the Hubble Space Telescope and the Gemini North Telescope in Hawaii. Hubble's sharp eyes revealed that this wasn't just a trick of light or gravitational lensing, where a closer galaxy acts as a magnifying glass. No, these were two distinct massive galaxies, each with its own feeding black holes at the center, physically bound by gravity. They are currently separated by only about 10,000 light years, which in cosmic terms is like two people standing on opposite sides of the living room. This specific pair of quasars is special because of when we are seeing them, because the light takes time to travel. Looking deep into space is like looking back in time. We are seeing these quasars as they were just 900 million years after the Big Bang. This puts them squarely in the epoch of reionization. This was the cosmic dawn, the era when the very first stars and galaxies were turning on and clearly moving away from the cold, dark hydrogen fog that filled the early universe. Seeing two quasars merging this early tells us that supermassive black holes didn't just grow slowly over billions of years, they grew through violence. They grew by eating each other. This discovery helps scientists refine their simulations of how the universe evolved from a hot soup of particles into a structured web of galaxies that we see today. You might be wondering, that's 12 billion years ago. Why does it matter to us now? Well, the Great Cosmic Collision is a preview of our own destiny. Right now, our galaxy, the Milky Way, is on a collision course with our neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy. In about 4 to 5 billion years, our two galaxies will begin the same dance these quasars are doing right now. Our own central black hole Sagittarius A star, which is currently quiet and not feeding, might wake up during the merger. And as from gas from the Andromeda gets shoved into our galactical center, our black hole could ignite, turning a Milky Way into a blazing quasar for an distant alien astronomers to see. The two quasars we're talking about today have likely already finished their merger. In the now of the universe, they are probably one single gargantuan elliptical galaxy with one massive black hole at its core. we are just not catching the echoes of their ancient battle. It reminds us that the universe is not static place. It's a dynamic, evolving, and often violent masterpiece. Every time we find a pair like this, we add another piece to the puzzle of where we came from, where the cosmos is going, etc. So friends, thanks for joining in on this journey across space and time. If you want to keep exploring the wonders of the universe, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Until next time, please keep looking up. Before I part ways, a word from our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. For decades, Uranus and Neptune have been labeled as ice giant, described as swirling mass of water, ammonia, and methane. But the new scientific breakthroughs are shattering that model. Recent research suggests that these distant worlds might be far rockier than anyone had imagined previously. Therefore, in this video, we dive deep into the ice giant illusion. We explore the latest thermal modeling and the planetary data that are forcing the astronomers to rewrite the textbooks. If Uranus and Neptune aren't just the balls of ice and gas, what does that mean for the history of our solar system and the thousands of exoplanets that we have discovered so far? Let's go. Hello everyone and welcome back. For decades, when we look at the edge of our solar system, we saw 2 blue marbles, Uranus and Neptune. We have always called them the ice giants. Textbook taught us they were swirling mass of water, ammonia and methane. But what if that identity is just an illusion? Recent scientific breakthroughs are suggesting these worlds might be far rockier than we ever imagined. And in this shift, we are forced to rewrite the, very rules of the planetary science. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. There are 3 things that we need to reevaluate. First is, what is the core problem? Second, why reevaluate? And third is, why the sudden change? It comes down to thermal modeling and the gravity. When scientists released data from Voyager 2 alongside new models, the math didn't quite add up. If these planets were purely ice fluid, they should be emitting heat and reacting to gravity differently. To account for their specific gravity and heat signature, these planets must contain a much higher percentage of rock or methane rich ice than the old model allowed. The new research suggests that instead of the small rocky core surrounded by massive oceans of ice, the rocky material might be distributed much more broadly, potentially making up to 20 to 40% of their total mass. We are talking about an enlarged rocky core and a dominant solid interior. This challenges the traditional view of these planets as gas dominated or primarily fluid dominated. In business we often talk about strategic liberation and the global shift. This discovery is a strategic liberation for planetary science. It frees us from an old, potentially incorrect framework. Just as generative AI has flipped the pyramid in the tech industry, the rocky theory flipped our understanding of the planetary formation. If the Uranus and Neptune are rocky, then the new space race, which is already heating up around the moon's south pole, might eventually extend even further as we look into the valuable materials in the outer solar system. So, as we look towards 2026 and beyond, the focus is shifting from just passing exams to a skill based revolution. In astronomy, that means moving beyond old labels and embracing the complex reality of our universe. Whether it is the direct collapse of a star or a rocky heart of an ice giant, we are living in an era of unprecedented discovery. So, friends, this is something that we have learned. Thanks for joining today on the Akulmach world. And if you found this deep dive into cosmos and strategic redefinition of the planet, and if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. I'm CK and I will see you again in the next one. Before I go, a few words about our affiliate partners. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's Hello friends, Namaskaram. In today's volatile market, most CEO react to the noise, but the best leader operate from a place of stillness. In this video, we explore why true leadership isn't about suppressing emotion, but about mastering equanimity. We will learn how to remain unshaken by market swings, internal crises, and the constant pressure of the C-suite. Let's go. We often talk about hustle as the primary metrics for CEO. We talk about passion, about drive, about the fire in our belly. But if you have been at the helm of any significant time, you know the truth. The fire that drives you can easily become the fire that consumes you. Today, I want to talk about your greatest business asset. And it isn't your capital, your intellectual property, or even your team. It is your ability to remain equanimous. It is the ability to stand in the middle of the storm, a market crash, a peer crisis, a boardroom battle, and remain entirely unmoved. Today, we are looking at a 5,000-year-old framework for modern executive success. We will take help from Bhagavad Gita. And the verse is verse 56 in chapter 2. Friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Now let's continue with our discussion. The verse reads like this, and the quote starts: One is neither overjoyed nor agitated in happiness or suffering, free from desires, craving for pleasures, fear, and anger. One's mind is tranquil. And the quote close. Let's break down for the boardroom. Most leaders are addicted to the win. When the members are up, they are euphoric. When the numbers are down, they are terrified. The volatility is a liability. Why? Because when you are swinging between euphoria and panic, your cognitive capacity drops. You stop seeing the business as it is. You start seeing it through the filter of your own emotional state. Equanimity or the sthiti pragana is not about having no emotions. It's about having a mind that is not owned by them. It is the ability to witness the ups and downs without becoming the passenger to them. Why is this your greatest asset? Because of the decision velocity. When you are agitated by suffering, things like losses, failure, harsh reviews, etc., you make reactive decisions. You cost cut when you should be investing. You fire people when you should be mentoring. You pivot when you should be staying on course. When you are intoxicated by happiness, things like huge wins, record quarter, etc., you make arrogant decisions. You over expand. You ignore the red flags. Equanimity creates a neutral baseline. Think of it like a shock absorber on a vehicle. If you drive over a bumpy road, and business is bumpy road, of course, without shock absorbers, every single stone you hit shakes the entire chassis. You lose traction, you lose control. Equanimity is the shock absorber. It keeps the vehicle steady so you can keep steering. It allows you to look at a 20% drop in revenue with the same clarity that you look at 20% increase. And that clarity is where the competitive advantage is found. You are probably wondering, this sounds like philosophy, but how do I do this on a Monday morning? And here are the three practical steps that you can follow. And number one is the pause protocol. When a fire hits your desk, an urgent, high stress email forces a 2-minute gap before you respond. The Gita suggests that the mind is tranquil when it is free from immediate craving to fix it or the fear of result. Use the gap to separate the event from your interpretation. Next, number two is outcome decoupling. Practice doing your job with 100% intensity, but give yourself a permission to be detached from the outcome. Work as if you control everything, but accept that you control very little. The sounds paradoxical, isn't it? But it works. It removes the fear of failure, which is the biggest blocker to innovation. And lastly, the third person perspective. In the middle of the crisis, ask yourself, if I were a consultant looking at this company from outside, what would I advise? This instantly moves you from the agitated player to the tranquil observer. I know what some of you may be thinking. If I'm not overjoyed or agitated, am I not losing my edge? Don't I need that fire? There is a massive difference between apathy and equanimity. Apathy is I don't care. Equanimity is I care deeply, but I am not enslaved by the result. The most dangerous CEO are the ones whose ego is tied to the stock price. The most powerful CEOs are the ones whose identity is tied to their mission. When your mission is bigger than your ego, you don't need the high of the wind to keep going, and you aren't crushed by the low of the losses. That is the sustainable leadership. That is the only way to build a legacy that lasts. The world is noisy. It is designed to make you react. It is designed to pull you into volatility. Your job as a leader is to be the eye of the storm. You can cultivate that state of mind where you are present, focus, and unshakable. You will not only make better decisions, you will also create culture of stability for your team. Leadership isn't about how high you can jump during a good time. It's about how level you can keep your head when everything else is losing theirs. So, friends, start today. Don't react, observe, and watch how your business changes when you bring the power of equanimity to the table. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across. And I will catch you again in the next one. हेलो दोस्तों, नमस्कार। हम सब जानते हैं कि जो मार्केट की अनिश्चितता है, जो कभी भी स्टेबल नहीं रहता है, और बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती हैं जो बिल्कुल अनस्टेबल रहती हैं मार्केट में, जैसे कि आपके डिजिटल डिसरप्शन जो हो रहा है, और कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि गवर्नमेंट कभी नई पॉलिसीज लेके आती है। तो ऐसे बदलते हुए एनवायरनमेंट के अंदर एक महान सीईओ और एक अच्छा नेतृत्व वाला सीईओ में डिफरेंस क्या है? क्या ये सिर्फ स्ट्रेटजी है या लीडरशिप रेजिलियंस है? ये एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है। इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर ढूंढने के लिए हम भगवत गीता का सहायता लेंगे और ये जानेंगे कि हमारी लीडरशिप को कैसे हम इतना स्ट्रांग बना दें कि वो बिल्कुल अनचेंजिंग सेल्फ की तरह और एक सिद्धांत की तरह सामने आए, और कोई भी लीडर अगर इस चीज़ को फॉलो करे तो कुछ भी हो जाए, किस तरह का भी मार्केट वॉलेटिलिटी हो जाए, लेकिन लीडरशिप पे कोई असर नहीं पड़ेगा। ये जानिए कैसे होगा। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। देखिए दोस्तों, जो मार्केट का जो नॉइज होता है कभी नहीं रुकता। जो शोरगुल होता है वो कभी नहीं रुकता है। ये शोरगुल क्या होता है? जैसे कि क्वार्टरली प्रोजेक्शंस होते हैं, इसमें प्रोजेक्शन कभी ऊपर होते हैं, कभी नीचे होते हैं। कॉम्पिटिटर डिसरप्टिवनेस होती है। कॉम्पिटिटर अपने प्रोडक्ट को कभी अच्छा करता है या अपने वैल्यूज को अच्छा करता है। कभी कभी सप्लाई चेन में फ्रैक्चर्स हो जाते हैं, और कभी कभी बोर्ड रूम में बहुत अलग तरीके के प्रेशर होते हैं, पॉलिटिकल और डिफरेंट तरीके के प्रेशर हो जाते हैं। ये एक ना रुकने वाला नोटिफिकेशन का शोर है जो हर सीईओ को सुनना पड़ता है। और इस जो नोटिफिकेशन है या नॉलेज है या इंफॉर्मेशन है, मार्केट रियलिटी जिसको हम बोलते हैं, इससे हमेशा उसको जो सीईओ है उसके दिमाग में ये रहता है, इनपुट रहता है, और उससे वो ड्राइव होता है। मतलब अगर ये इनपुट ना हो तो सीईओ को लगता है कि मुझे कुछ पता ही नहीं है मार्केट रियलिटी के बारे में, तो मैं ड्राइव नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ अपने स्ट्रेटेजी को। ये एक बहुत ही हाई फ्रिक्वेंसी हम की तरह महसूस होता है जो सीईओज होते हैं जो इस इनपुट को लेते हैं। लेकिन अगर मैं आपसे बोलूं कि इस ऐसा करने के बजाय, हाइपर विजिलेंट होने के बजाय, अगर आपको इस शोर से दूर होके फिर स्ट्रेटेजिक डिसीजन लेने का मौका मिले, तो क्या आपको लगेगा कि यह एक अच्छा तरीका है, या आपको लगेगा कि इससे हम आगे जा सकते हैं और इस शोर से दूर होके हम डिटैच होके हम डिसीजंस लें तो हमारे लिए ज़्यादा फायदेमंद रहेगा? तो इसी पॉइंट को आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे, और हम डिस्कस करेंगे, इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर ढूंढेंगे भगवत गीता के चैप्टर 2 वर्स 25 से, जिसमें बहुत ही प्रोफाउंड साइकोलॉजिकल फ्रेमवर्क की व्याख्या की गई है। एंड ये आज मॉडर्न सीईओ के ऊपर एकदम लागू होता है, और ये एक मास्टर क्लास की तरह है जो एक एग्जीक्यूटिव स्टेबिलिटी की तरफ आपको ले जाता है अगर आप उसको फॉलो करें। तो दोस्तों, अगर आप यहाँ तक पहुंचे हैं तो आप हमें कृपया बताइए कि आप किस शहर से हमारा वीडियो देख रहे हैं और किस लैंग्वेज में हमारा वीडियो देखना पसंद करते हैं। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। हम इस श्लोक को पढ़ेंगे अब। श्लोक में ये कहा गया है कि अपने जो चीज़ आपकी इनविजिबल है या इनकंसीवेबल है या अनचेंजेबल है, अगर इसको हम जानते हैं तो इसके ऊपर हमें ज़्यादा शौक नहीं करना चाहिए। मतलब हिंदी में आपको थोड़ा सा कन्वर्ट करके बताया मैंने, ये कि संस्कृत में है ये। नाउ अब इसको हम अप्लाई करते हैं अपने बिजनेस लैंग्वेज में, बिजनेस कॉन्टेक्स्ट के अंदर। इसमें क्या होता है कि जो हम बॉडी जिसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं, जो एक फ्रिजाइल है, इसके अंदर बहुत सारे बॉडी मतलब कि आपका जो बिजनेस का जो शोर जो आ रहा है, जैसे कि पीएल एंड स्टेटमेंट है जो फ्लक्चुएट करता रहता है, स्टॉक प्राइजेस है जो हमेशा फ्लक्चुएट करते रहते हैं, ऑफिस स्पेस है, कभी ऑफिस आपको बढ़ाना पड़ता है, कभी आपको कम करना पड़ता है, प्रोडक्ट लॉन्चेस होते हैं, कभी कभी उनमें गड़बड़ हो जाती है, नए प्रोडक्ट लॉन्चेस होते हैं, एम्प्लॉय टर्नओवर भी होता है जो कभी कभी आपकी कंपनी को या आपको मुश्किल, आपके लिए मुश्किल पैदा कर सकता है। लेकिन गीता के अनुसार इसको बॉडी कहा गया है क्योंकि बॉडी एक नश्वर है, ये खत्म हो जाती है, तो ये इससे इक्वेट किया गया है कि जो बॉडी है वो तो टेम्परेरी है, तो इसको आप परमानेंट कैसे मान सकते हैं? जो मार्केट जो नॉलेज है, इसको आप कैसे ये मान सकते हैं कि यही एकदम सच है, राइट? तो इससे ये बोलते हैं भगवान कृष्ण अर्जुन को ये बोलते हैं कि आप जो नश्वर चीज है, जो परमानेंट नहीं है, उसके ऊपर शोक क्यों करते हैं? तो इसी तरह से अगर आज के जो सीईओज हैं, जो मार्केट नॉलेज है, शेयर प्राइसेस है, प्रोडक्ट लॉन्चेस है, इसके ऊपर आप क्यों उतना ध्यान देते हैं? अगर इसको ना ध्यान देके बेसिक्स पे ध्यान देंगे तो हो सकता है आपके डिसीजंस अलग तरीके के आए और लॉन्ग टर्म को ध्यान में रखते हुए आए। तो एक तो ये बात होगी। दूसरा ये है कि मोस्ट सीईओज जो हैं, 100% ऑफ द सीईओज वो इसी चीज को देखते हैं, वो लॉन्ग टर्म नहीं देखते, वो देखते हैं कि मार्केट नॉलेज क्या चल रही है, शेयर प्राइस क्या चल रहा है, इस क्वार्टर में क्या होने वाला है। तो उससे क्या होता है कि आपका जो डिसीजंस है दे आर वेरी वेरी नीजक रिएक्शन के हिसाब से होते हैं, और जो आपको मार्केट बता रहा है उसी तरह से आप अपने डिसीजंस लेते हैं। अगर मार्केट आपको बता रहा है कि आप फ्लॉप होने वाले हैं तो आप हाथ पैर मारने लग जाते हैं और अपने आप को भूल जाते हैं। आप ये नहीं समझ पाते कि हमारे अंदर कितनी क्षमता है, और आप मार्केट आपको ही ड्राइव करने लगता है। मतलब मार्केट तो ड्राइव हो रहा है किसी भी तरीके से, लेकिन वो आपको भी ड्राइव करने लगता है, तो आप उसी के चपेट में आ जाते हैं। उससे क्या होता है? उससे ये होता है कि आपके जो डिसीजंस हैं वो गलत हो जाते हैं। अब आती है बात दूसरे शब्द की जो इस श्लोक में दिया गया है, उसका नाम है सेल्फ। सेल्फ का मतलब क्या है? सेल्फ का मतलब है कोर विजन, आपकी कंपनी का, आपका खुद का। और आपकी कंपनी बनी क्यों है? वाई बिहाइंड योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। आपकी कंपनी का काम क्या है? आपकी कंपनी का अनचेंजेबल मिशन क्या है? इनटेंजिबल आपकी स्ट्रेटेजी क्या है? चाहे क्वार्टर ग्रोथ 2% हो या 20%, लेकिन ऐसी क्या चीज है जो सेल्फ है, मतलब जो चेंज नहीं होती आपकी कंपनी में? तो उसको ध्यान न देके आप मार्केट वाली, जो पहले जो मार्केट का शोर है उसके ऊपर ध्यान देते हैं। इसको सेल्फ को केयर नहीं करते, लेकिन जो मार्केट से जो टेम्परेरी इंफॉर्मेशन आती है उस पे आप ज्यादा ध्यान देते हैं। तो ये जो चीज है, ये पहले तो गीता का जब हम श्लोक पढ़ते हैं तो पहले हमें समझना चाहिए कि हम किस चीज के बारे में बात करें। तो आज दो चीजों के बारे में बात हो रही है, एक है बॉडी, दूसरा है सेल्फ। बॉडी इज मार्केट नॉइज और सेल्फ इज योर स्ट्रेटेजी, आपका मिशन, एक्सेट्रा। अब आप देखिए, कोई सर्जन है जो एक सीईओ के समान है, कभी भी फियर से पैरालाइज नहीं होता है। मतलब जो पेशेंट पे के ऊपर जो वो काम कर रहे होते हैं, अपना उनके ऊपर उपचार या इलाज कर रहे होते हैं, तो कभी इतना इमोशनल नहीं होते हैं। क्यों? इसका मतलब यही है कि अगर वो इमोशनल हो जाएंगे तो वो पेशेंट की ठीक तरीके से इलाज नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो इसी तरीके से सीईओ इतना इमोशनल नहीं होना चाहिए मार्केट नॉलेज को लेकर। अपने बेसिक, अपनी सेल्फ के ऊपर ज़्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए, और अपने जो स्ट्रेटजी है उसको ऑपरेशनलाइज करने के लिए उसको एक लॉन्ग टर्म स्ट्रेटजी बनानी चाहिए जो बिल्कुल चेंज ना हो, कभी चेंज ना हो, अनचेंजेबल जिसको बोलते हैं। तो भगवान कृष्ण ने बताया कि आपकी स्ट्रेटेजी, आपका मिशन, आपकी वैल्यूज बिल्कुल अनचेंजेबल होनी चाहिए। अब इन चीजों को हम करेंगे कैसे? अगर आपको आज ये करना हुआ तो ऑब्वियसली एक दिन में तो ये हो नहीं पाएगा। तो चार चीजें मैं अपनी तरफ से आपको बताता हूं जो आपको प्रैक्टिस करनी है। पहला है सेल्फ ऑडिट। आप किसी भी डिसीजन, कोई भी डिसीजन लेने से पहले आप पहले इस सिचुएशन का ऑडिट कर लें। ऑडिट का मतलब ये है कि अगर मैं कोई डिसीजन लेने वाला हूँ या वाली हूँ, तो ये देख लें कि मैं डिसीजन जो ले रहा हूँ लॉन्ग टर्म को ध्यान में रख के ले रहा हूँ, या मैं जो मार्केट का नॉइज़ है पैनिक होके फियर के अंदर आके मैं इसको ले रहा हूँ। तो ये ऑडिट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है। आपको 1 मिनट, 5 मिनट, आधा घंटा, 1 घंटा, जितना भी आपको टाइम लगे, इस चीज़ का आप ऑडिट करें और देखें कि मैं शॉर्ट टर्म से इफेक्ट हो रहा हूँ क्या, या मैं लॉन्ग टर्म के को कंसिडर करते हुए इस पे काम कर रहा हूँ। नंबर 2 है प्रैक्टिस रेडिकल एक्सेप्टेंस। आपको ये एक्सेप्ट करना चाहिए कि जो अनचेंजेबल है मार्केट के अंदर, वो कभी चेंज नहीं हो सकता, उसको कोई भी हिला नहीं सकता है। उसके उसको कोई भी आ जाए, कितना भी ताकतवर आ जाए, जो अनचेंजेबल चीज़ें हैं उसको आप उसको आप चेंज नहीं कर सकते। तो आपके पावर में ही नहीं है, आपके और किसी के भी पावर में नहीं है। तो पहले उन चीज़ों को आपको समझना चाहिए, क्योंकि अगर आपको उस चीज़ की नॉलेज होगी कि ऐसी कौन सी चीज़ है जो बदली नहीं जा सकती, तो फिर आपके डिसीजंस बिल्कुल अलग तरीके से आएंगे और रिएक्टिव नहीं होंगे, फियरफुल नहीं होंगे आपके डिसीजंस। तीसरा जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है वो है लीड फ्रॉम द कोर। जब आपके पहले 2 पॉइंट आपने अच्छी तरह कर लिया, आपने ऑडिट कर लिया और आपने ये समझ लिया कि मार्केट में कौन सी अनशेकेबल, अनचेंजेबल चीज़ें हैं, तो फिर आप लीड फ्रॉम द कोर अपने डिसीजंस जो होंगे अनशेकेबल सीईओस की तरह आप लेंगे। और फिर आपको किसी चीज़ की फिक्र नहीं रहेगी, आपके सारे डिसीजंस एकदम लॉन्ग टर्म बेसिस पे होंगे, जो आपके ग्रुप को, आपकी कंपनी को, आपको हमेशा पॉजिटिव डायरेक्शन में लेके जाएंगे, हमेशा रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ देंगे। कभी क्वार्टर ऊपर नीचे होगा, उससे आपको फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता है। तो ये आपका हो जाता है, एक बुलेट प्रूफ मैनेजर आप बन जाते हैं। और आप बिल्कुल, आपका जो नज़रिया है बात करने का, सोचने का, कंपनी को रन करने का, बिल्कुल बदल जाता है। तो ये जो 2 लाइनें हैं इस श्लोक में, कितना पावरफुल श्लोक है देखिए। अगर आप इसको प्रैक्टिस करें तो आप अनशेकेबल सीईओ बन सकते हैं। तो दोस्तों, अगर आपके पास कोई क्वेश्चन है, या आप और डिटेल में इसके बारे में जानना चाहते हैं, ज़रूर कमेंट करके बताएं। और ये भी बताएं कि आपकी कंपनी या आपका ग्रुप कोई क्राइसिस फेस कर रहा है, सो हम आपको उसमें हेल्प कर सकते हैं। गीता का जो ज्ञान है उसको यूज़ करके आपको हेल्प कर सकते हैं, हाउ डू यू मूव फॉरवर्ड। और आपको ये भी हेल्प कर सकते हैं कि टेम्परेरी क्या है, परमानेंट क्या है, इस चीज़ का आप आइडेंटिफिकेशन कर सकें। तो दोस्तों, थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग। मैं मिलता हूँ आपसे अगले वीडियो में जल्द ही। लीड वेल, एंड आई विल सी यू अगेन इन द नेक्स्ट वन। Hello friends, welcome and namaskaram. Is Amazon taking down Nvidia? Well, Amazon just confirmed a massive shift in its hardware strategy, and it is not just for the cloud, it is coming for your living room too. In this video, we break down Amazon's latest move to develop custom in-house silicon for its entire ecosystem. From the flagship Trinium AI chip meant to challenge Nvidia in a third-party data center, to breaking news about the custom processor coming to Kindle, Fire TV and Echo devices in 2027. Amazon is betting big on the vertical integration to cutting cost and own its own AI stack. Let's explore this further. For years, Amazon has been the company that sold you everything from books to cloud computing power. But lately, they have been pivoting into role that put them in a direct competition with very giant that used to supply them. We are witnessing a fundamental shift in Amazon's DNA. The retail and the cloud giant is no longer content with being just a customer of a semiconductor industry. They are becoming the architect of their own hardware future. From the chip inside your Echo Shows to the massive processor training AI in AWS data centers, Amazon's secret weapon is officially out of the bag: custom in house silicon. Today, we are breaking down why Amazon is making this massive bet, what it means for your Kindle, Fire TV, and why this strategy could reshape the AI landscape for the next decade. So, friends, if you've reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you're watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Now, let us continue with our discussion and analysis. Let's start with why. Why would a retailer go through the immense billion-dollar trouble of designing their own microchip? The answer is simple: control, cost, and capacity. For years, companies like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft have been at the mercy of chip designers like Nvidia, Qualcomm, and Intel. When you rely on off the shelf hardware, you are playing by their rules, paying their margins, and dealing with their supply chain constraints. But Amazon isn't just a retailer anymore. As they ramped up their AI spending, they have realized that the traditional buy it all approach is becoming a financial bottleneck. By designing their own processor, Amazon can optimize for specific task. They can make their devices much more efficient, faster at handling AI requests, and significantly cheaper to produce at scale. This leads us to the biggest news of the week. Reports are surfacing about a major behind the scenes shakeup for Amazon's consumer hardware. According to the industry analyst, Amazon is planning to gradually shift away from third party processors for its consumer gadgets. We are talking about the Kindles, the Fire TV, your doorbell ring, Eco Smart speakers. The transition is reportedly slated to begin in 2027. And if this sounds like pulling up an Apple, that is because it is. Apple famously designed its own A series and M series chip to create a seamless integration between their software and hardware. Amazon is now attempting the same philosophy. They've already started dipping their toes into this with AZ3 and AZ3 Pro chips, which are unveiled in October to help run AI models directly on your devices rather than sending data back and forth to the cloud. Think about that for a second. If your Alexa device can process your voice command or recognize your home context on the device using custom silicon, it's not only faster, it's much more secure and private. And the scale here is massive. We are talking about potentially 40 million Amazon designed processors shipping annually once this strategy is fully rolled out. To make this happen, Amazon is partnering with AI chip for the back-end design, signaling that they are fully committed to this long-term procurement pivot. Now, while the consumer stuff is exciting, we have to talk about the real money maker, which is the cloud. This is where the Amazon's custom silicon journey truly began. And it's where the war against Nvidia is being fought. Amazon has been quietly building its custom silicon capability since acquiring Anpurna Labs way back in 2015. That investment has matured into Trinium and Infertia chip family. They aren't for your living room. These are the engines that power the intelligence behind the scene of the internet. By running their own chips, AWS can offer their cloud customers better performance per dollar than if they were only renting out NVIDIA GPUs. In fact, the recent report suggests Amazon is even exploring the idea of selling their Trinium chips to outside companies. This is a massive power move. It transforms Amazon from cloud service provider into hardware supplier for other data centers, putting them in direct competition with the giants of the semiconductor world. We are even seeing the global ambition in action. Just this week, Amazon announced a massive 13 billion additional investment into India to expand cloud and AI infrastructure, specifically to give startups and government bodies access to these custom AI chips. They aren't just building chips, they are building the physical infrastructure of the future digital economy across the entire nations. So, what does this actually mean for you and me, the average users? In short term, you might not notice a massive difference. Your next Kindle or your Fire TV isn't going to turn into a supercomputer overnight, but over time, you will likely see smarter, faster, and more private AI features that feel like they just work. And from a business perspective, this is Amazon way of protecting their bottom lines. With the staggering cost of AI development, Amazon needs to streamline its organization and improve the cost structure of its non-AI businesses to keep funding the AI revolution. Amazon is effectively building a moat. By controlling the chips, they control the experience and the world of AI where the speed and efficiencies are everything. That is the ultimate secret weapon. So, friends, what do you think? Is Amazon pivot to in-house silicon is a brilliant move to challenge the giant, or they are spreading themselves too thin? Drop a comment below and let's get into the debate. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the Silicon Wars, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tech analysis. Friends, thanks for watching, and I will see you again in the next one.
Imagine a single campus where the father of grammar, Panini, and the master of political realism, Chanakya, walked the hall to redefine human thoughts. This wasn't just a school, it was a global epicenter for medicines and statecraft that exported genius across entire continents. We are decoding world's first university to reveal how its ancient curriculum still dictate the pulse of modern civilization. So let's find out more. Long before Oxford or Harvard existed, a sophisticated intellectual powerhouse was shaped the modern world from the shadows of the history. We are likely use the foundation of linguistic and political strategy today without realizing that they were perfected at Takshila over 2 millennia ago. So long before that, those interesting covered halls of Oxford or the marble courtyards of Nalanda, there stood a citadel of learning that shaped civilization. So we're talking about Takshila, and Takshila, the world's first recorded university, nested in the ancient region of Gandhar, now present day somewhere Takshila, somewhere near Afghanistan border or Pakistan. Now it is not merely a seat of education, but a crucible idea where the philosophy, science, medicine, and governance intertwined to forge the intellectual backbone of Asia. In many ways, Takshila's spirit resonate with India's new education policy, NEP, a modern attempt to revive the ancient ideal of integrated learning. The NEP emphasized flexibility, interdisciplinary study, creativity, and echoes the ethos of Takshila's open classroom. It seeks to dismantle the rote learning and encourage critical thinking, research, innovation, the very principle that once made Takshila the intellectual heart of the world. Founded around 6th century BC, Takshila drew scholars and seekers from across the known world, from China to Greece. Its corridor echoed the debates on logic and ethics, astronomy and linguistic, politics and art. Here, the Chanakya wrote the Arthashastra, the trustee on statecraft that remains relevant even today. Panini, the father of Sanskrit grammar, systemized the linguistic thoughts with precision unmatched for millennia. Physicians like Charak redefined Ayurveda, while philosophers explore metaphysics and moral laws. In 2026, as the world redefine education through digital platform, artificial intelligence, global collaboration, the legacy of Takshila feels more alive than ever. This ancient university, once a beacon of wisdom and dialogue, stands as the timeless reminder that true learning transcends technology. It is about nurturing curiosity, ethics, and imagination. So friends, if you have reached this far, so please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. Now let's continue further with our discussion. So by promoting the skill-based education, digital literacy, and the global collaboration, NEP reimagines India's academic landscape for 21st century. It encourages students to explore art alongside science, to think beyond exam, to connect knowledge with life. In essence, it strives to rekindle the flame that burned bright in Takshila, where the learning was not confined to walls but expanded into the world. Takshila's model of education was astonishing modern. So it was definitely very, very creative and astonishingly more modern than we actually realize. It valued interdisciplinary learning, where a student of medicine could debate philosophy and the scholar of politics could study art. Today, and as universities worldwide adapt the flexible curricula and hybrid learning models, Takshila's spirit of intellectual freedom finds new expression in virtual classroom and open source knowledge networks. As we stand at the crossroad of tradition and technology, Takshilas remind us that the true education is timeless. It is not about accumulation but transformation of thoughts, of society, of humanity. The NEP, in its vision, carries forward that legacy to make every learner a thinker, and every thinker a creator, and every creator a custodian of wisdom. So the new education policy of India embodies this revival. It focuses on multidisciplinary education and experimental learning, and the global citizenship mirror Takshila's ancient ethos. The NEP's vision of integrated vocational skill, research, and creativity into mainstream education echoes the holistic approach that once made Takshila the intellectual capital of Asia. In discovering Takshila, we actually rediscovering ourselves. A civilization that once taught the world how to learn, how now seeks to teach its own, teach actually how to evolve. So we have come to the end of this discussion. We look forward for your comments on this topic, and also kindly like and subscribe our channel. So see you in the next one very soon. Till then, bye.